you say didn't get enough out of your guys. Do you think another head coach could step in and, without a lot of roster moves and be a little bit more successful without a ton of moves?
Well, I do. I think we're a playoff team on paper this year, and we didn't make it. Now, again, the evaluation isn't here just that we didn't make the playoffs. The evaluation is did he get the most out of individuals, therefore, bring it together collectively and get the most out of our group. So, making the playoffs wasn't necessarily the tipping point.
Ron, will you look for a coach that fits the players you have, or bring somebody in and then get the players?
Well, you have to have a guy that thinks somewhat along the lines, like him and I have to align in terms of our thought process of a team. I mean, otherwise it's not going to work. But we'll look for the right coach, like I said, not only short term, long term. And coaches have to adjust a little bit to their players, but in the end, coaches typically have their beliefs and their systems and how they want to play. And if that aligns with mine, it should fit with our team. So we'll obviously have a lot of discussions here.
The word consistency was used a lot earlier in this week. Is that something that you look back on and say was really lacking with this team?
Yeah, it was, and that's all of our responsibilities. That's mine, that's the coach, that's the players. I mean, we can't just look at Craig and say this is all his responsibility, because we all have a part in it, and certainly the players as individuals have a part in that one as well. But the consistency was a huge problem.
Ron, you go back a long way with Craig. He's a loyal Flyer for all those years. How tough a decision was this for you personally?
It was hard. I mean, my responsibility is to do what's right for the organization. I felt like this was right, but you've obviously got the personal side. He's a good friend of mine, and I got a lot of respect for Craig, and I admire him a lot. So that made it tough, but in the end, like I said, you got to do what's right for the organization.
Is there a timetable that you have for any replacement?
No, I would like to have a guy in place by the draft. I think, when you're going into free agency and talking about your team and, adding a piece here or there, you kind of want to have your coach in the process. So I would like to get a guy in place certainly before the draft is the goal.
We're finding out about this kind of the news today. Has a search already begun? Is there a list, or is it wide open, or is it, how do you go about it?
There's no list. I haven't thought about it. I'm not there. My focus has been, whether Craig was the right guy or not. When I determined he's not, now we'll move on to the next stage, which is compiling a broad list.
Ron, do you worry about a candidate maybe being concerned about the turnover in this position in the last number of years in this organization? Is that something you have to address?
I think that's pro sports, isn't it? There's a lot of turnover in pro sports. It's obviously there's a lot of pressure to win, but quite frankly, the coach we bring in here, I hope he's here long term. I mean, certainly that'll be my vision. I'm a deep thinker, and I don't like to change a lot. I like to change the right pieces at the right time, but I don't envision being in a coach search for hopefully a long time.
As a player that went through this in your playing days, is there a message that is now sent to the players in that dressing room about what they need to do as well?
Well, I think the message, obviously, that this wasn't good enough. When we don't get the most out of people, it's not accepted here, and that's, again, we all have fault in this. Craig's the one who obviously took the hit here, but we all have fault, and certainly the players have a certain amount of fault that lays with them.
You said you're doing what's best for the organization. What didn't Craig have, and what will the next guy have to be right for?
Well, I'm not going to get into details on the intimate details, I guess, of the decision, but like I said, it didn't feel like he got enough as a group, out of the group, as individuals and collectively. I think moving forward here, the right coach gets the most out of everybody. We've got some young players coming. We've got some young players on our roster. We've got some young players in the minors, so I'll be cognizant of that. But you've also got to get the most out of your veterans as well. So, it's hiring a coach is a tough call, and we'll do a lot of research and come up with the right guy.
You said you haven't put a list together yet. Will you look behind the NHL with a guy maybe that doesn't have NHL coaching experience? Could that be an option?
I always start these things off with a broad list. There'd be a broad list. You put every coach there, and you start eliminating. So yes, I'll look at every avenue here for sure.